Following the disagreement, I made a decision. I would return home to live with my parents. This was something I had wanted for years, but when it finally happened, I didn't feel as excited as I had hoped. Instead, I felt apprehension. The first few days back home were incredibly awkward. The house felt foreign to me, and I frequently felt out of place, as if I were invading someone else's territory. My parents designed their routines totally on Jackson's wants and schedule. They rarely acknowledged me, and when they did, it was always in passing. I had imagined that moving back home would finally make my parents notice me, that they would care about me as much as they did about Jackson. However, it soon became evident that nothing had changed. Jackson was still the center of their universe, while I remained on the periphery, disregarded and forgotten. I was merely happy for have my own room. They would order pizza or take us out to his favorite restaurant, making it a huge family outing. When I finally finished high school and was accepted to college, I was fortunate to receive a partial scholarship. Even though it paid some of the fees, I was concerned about how I would handle the remaining bills. At the time, I asked my parents if they had set up a college fund for me. Part of me knew the answer, yet I felt compelled to inquire. As expected, they promptly informed me that all of the money they were saving was for Jackson. They stated he was the youngest and would need to be cared for in the future. My father openly informed me that as the oldest, I needed to learn to take care of myself. He did offer to assist me in applying for an education loan, which I would then be responsible for repaying once I found work. It was quite painful to learn that my own parents continued to disregard me. While most parents are delighted and proud to assist their children in their transition into adulthood, mine were practically telling me I was on my own. Fortunately, my grandparents saw this coming long before I did. They had been quietly planning for my future and had secretly established a trust fund for me years before. When they finally revealed this to me and told me that I didn't have to worry about college, I was completely surprised. I couldn't believe someone cared enough to do this for me. I cried with excitement because, for the first time, I felt truly supported. It was surreal. No one had ever gone to such lengths to protect me. My grandparents not only saw my talent, but they also took steps to ensure that I could attend college without financial constraints. However, when my parents learned about the trust fund that my grandparents had established for me, they did not share my excitement or relief. I refused. I informed them that it was not my obligation to care for Jackson's schooling, especially since they had always stated that their financial priority was with him. My parents were unhappy about my decision, but there was nothing they could do. For once, they did not have the upper hand. I wasn't going to give away what had been given to me out of love and care because they thought Jackson deserved it all. It was a heartbreaking realization that even in this situation, my parents could not be happy for me. But it was also powerful because I understood I needed to stand up for myself, even if it meant defying my parents. When I graduated from college, my parents actually attended the ceremony. They smiled proudly as they snapped pictures with me. It seemed odd to have them there after all those years when they hadn't even acknowledged my achievements. Following the ceremony, my parents, Jackson, my grandma, and I went out to lunch to celebrate. It was one of the few times I felt like we were a family, even if it was just for a short period. For once, I wasn't invisible to them, and that simple act of recognition meant more to me than words could describe. This year, after securing my first true high-paying job and earning my first big salary, I wanted to do something special to commemorate the occasion. I thought, why not share this moment with my family? I hadn't spent much time with my parents growing up, so I wanted to surprise them with something meaningful, a cruise excursion. Only the three of us. There were no distractions or obligations, simply quality time together to compensate for what we had missed over the years. Deep down, I knew I desired their attention, even after all these years of feeling overlooked. As for Jackson, I intended to get him something nice later so he wouldn't feel excluded.